So Texas is a community property state. The community property state means that anything that is earned or acquired during the marriage, except for specific circumstances, is going to be considered community property.
Do you know what the process is in Texas for getting a divorce? Well, we're going to find out, because that's what we're going to ask the lawyer on today's episode. Hi again, everybody. I'm Rob Rosenthal with AskTheLawyers.com, and my guest is attorney Erin Leake with the Vaught Law Firm in Austin, Texas. Erin, thank you for making some time to help us out today.
Thanks for having me.
So let's just start with some steps. What are the technical steps for filing for divorce in Texas? And does it matter who files first? Does that make any difference?
So the technical steps for filing divorce in Texas would be to file an original divorce petition with the court. That petition lays out what you are asking the court to give to you and covers topics such as child custody, child support, and property division. It doesn't technically matter who files for divorce first in Texas. The only reason it would matter would be who gets to go first at trial. Selfishly, I like to go first, so I would prefer to file first, but it doesn't have any legal bearing beyond that.
What are temporary orders when it comes to divorce, and why do they matter?
Temporary orders I like to refer to as the ground rules that we're going to follow while we're going through the divorce process. Okay. And we need something in place to deal with who's paying the bills, who is going to remain in the home, what is the schedule going to look like for possession with the children, is there any temporary support being paid to either spouse, and that just sets up some rules that we're going to follow while we're going through that divorce process till the end.
And so then the next step in the process, I guess discovery starts at some point. Explain to us what that is and how that works in discovery, and we'll just take us through that process.
Okay, so discovery is the information gathering portion of your divorce case. And so during discovery, we're going to be asking the other side or your spouse to provide us with information regarding financials, regarding the children, or other things that we need to complete your case. And there's different forms of discovery. There's informal discovery and formal discovery.
And what's the difference there?
So formal discovery is when we actually send out discovery requests, like a request for production, which is a request for documents, interrogatories, which is questions we can ask your spouse, and requests for disclosures, which is just something that the attorneys need to conduct the case. Informal discovery is normally an agreement between the two attorneys or the two parties to provide that information without having to go through the formal discovery process.
And then when it comes to child custody and child support, is there anything unique about that in Texas, and how's that handled usually?
Yeah. So child custody and child support is handled the same during a divorce case as it is during just a normal child custody or child support case. Okay. In Texas, we have joint managing conservators of the children and sole managing conservators of the children, and that has to deal with the parents' rights and duties. And then we also deal with the possession and access, and then with the child support, who's going to be paying who child support.
And then property division, how's that handled in Texas?
So in Texas, the law says that property division between the two spouses has to be done in a just and right and fair and equitable manner. And you're probably thinking, well, that doesn't really tell me a lot. And That's true, because it leaves it up to the court to make a decision on what is an appropriate division in your particular circumstances. So typically the court will make a property division between 50 to 55%, 45% between the spouses, depending on different circumstances.
And is Texas a community property state, and what does that mean?
Yes. So Texas is a community property state. The community property state means that anything that is earned or acquired during the marriage, except for specific circumstances, is going to be considered community property. And community property is allowed to be divided by the court. So that means that everything that you've earned, even if you kept it in a separate bank account or the car's only in your name, if it was earned or acquired during the marriage, it's going to be considered community property.
Okay. So let's say, I'm guessing retirement accounts and that sort of thing can be a little different, but the amount that, say, was brought into the marriage and then from the marriage to the divorce, does that have to be figured in as far as separation?
Yes. So anything that was brought into the marriage is considered separate property.
Okay.
Separate property you have to prove by a clear and convincing evidence standard, and that's normally like 85%. You have to show the court with 85% proof that that was yours prior to marriage. And so for a retirement account, we would look at what was accumulated prior to the marriage, and that would be considered separate. And then what was added to it after the marriage would be considered community and subject to division by the court. The separate property is not subject to division by the court. That will remain yours post-divorce.
Gotcha. Now, I imagine it varies upon case, but in your experience, Erin, what is the average length from, say, first filing until conclusion of the divorce?
So an average divorce case is going to probably last about 4 to 6 months. It can be no shorter than 60 days by statute. You have to wait 60 days. But in my experience, they take between about 4 to 6 months to reach a conclusion. Something that would make it go longer than that 4 to 6 time frame is major disagreements about property. Maybe we have some complicated property issues or child custody issues. That can make the case last longer than those 4 to 6 months.
Gotcha. Lots of great information, Erin. Thank you so much for helping us answering our questions today.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
That's going to do it for this episode of Ask the Lawyer. My guest has been attorney Erin Leake from the Vaught Law Firm in Austin, Texas. If you'd like the best information or you'd like to be able to choose a lawyer that lawyers choose, make sure to go to askthelawyer.com. Also, please take a sec to subscribe by clicking the button at the bottom of the screen so you'll know about future episodes. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm Rob Rosenthal with askthelawyer.com.